experience with what is now Bank of America in the state of Kansas and J.E. Dunn Construction Company, a national construction firm in the U.S. I now have a human resources consulting operation here in Kansas City, and I integrate the science of organizational and industrial psychology with the practice of human resources management to make smarter decisions.
Thanks for being here, Rick. And Rick's one of my advisors, and like Marilyn would say, he's the star because he always fills out the feedback form, and that's one of the things we really want you guys to do is give us feedback. So Megan Tanner, who's up there in the at least in my on my screen, she's up in the corner. She'll send out a link to the feedback form during the meeting, and then I'll send it with the follow-up email. Okay, so Bobby Dangerfield, you're next.
All right. Well, I'm Bobby Dangerfield and I'm in Austin, Texas. I spent 40 years in technology and operations at IBM, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, and 20 years at Dell. Have lots of experience in scaling operations, and I have a passion for kind of driving customer obsession. I have a lot of experience in M&A, and of course, scaling organizations from small to great big.
Thanks for being here, Bobby.
Mhm.
Mike Nichols, you're next.
Hi, everybody. Mike Nichols. I'm here in Kansas City as well. I launched Vine Creek Consulting a couple of years ago after 35 years in the corporate world, in leadership roles in HR across GE, Swiss Re, and CBiz. And now I focus on strategic talent topics with execs and their leaders, which includes succession planning and leadership pipeline development, and do a lot of executive coaching through that as an extension of that work.
Thanks for being here, Mike. Matthias, hey.
Hello, good afternoon. Matthias Piotrovich. I'm a VP of People Strategy. I am normally in Orlando, Florida. That's our headquarters, but today I'm in Washington, D.C., one of our stations here. I work for the Emirates Group, the company specifically called Denata, which is in aviation space. Prior to Denata, which is only 1 year right now with Denata, I worked for more than 25 years with Energy Services out of Siemens Energy out of Orlando as well, and then the last 10 years in Houston, Texas. So on the road quite a bit, but always glad to be here with Cindy and the rest of the crew.
Thanks for being here, Matthias. I know you travel a lot. I appreciate you taking the time. Erica,
Always.
welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Erica Nellis Plumley, and I oversee human resources for a company called Stonebridge Senior Living. We have assisted living and nursing home facilities in Missouri, Arkansas, and Illinois, and also on the board of SSM Health here, the St. Louis Region Board, based out of St. Louis.
Thanks for being here, Erica. Jody, welcome. Jody's new to the group.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jody Huey. I'm based in Kansas City. I am officially retired. I spent the last 15 years at Polsinelli as their chief people and communications officer. So 30 years in HR, ranging from recruiting to performance management, employee engagement, kind of the whole thing. Have retired and now looking to do this and just try to keep a little bit busy part time. So that's me.
And Jody was actually one of our first members when we first started the board program. So welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Rob, hey, good to see you. I wondered where you'd been.
Hey, Cindy. Sorry. Apologies, everyone. I've been a little busy with work. I'm Rob Bacher, a human capital leader. Started my career in consulting at what's now called WTW, so a recovering actuary. Spent my career in consulting, then in sort of corporate world, including Houston and oil and gas. Up in Dallas, Texas now, I'm actually leading global total rewards for Orion, a large professional services firm up here looking to go public in a couple of years. Done a lot of work in M&A, currently on the board and treasurer for Conference of Consulting Actuaries, and looking to get more involved with board roles and advisory roles.
Hey, I didn't know you ran across Mary Kay Manning. Tell her hi for me.
I already met her, yes.
Yeah, she and I worked together at Enron.
You shared that. Thank you.
Tim.
Hey, everybody. I'm here in north of Indianapolis, and it's always good to see the familiar faces here. This is always a fun hour for me. I'm a 30-year plus not retired HR / employee experience learner, uh, advocate, practitioner, teacher, and leader. And in the past, big part of my career has been as a CHRO or an officer in large brand organizations in both the manufacturing and healthcare industries, most recently healthcare. And before that, I had a consulting firm for 17 years that I sold to a private equity group, and we had clients all over the world, which taught me a lot and taught me that I still have a lot to learn. And so now I'm doing advisory board work. One organization I'm spending a lot of time and about to spend a lot of time with another organization, and also some consulting as well, staying as busy as I've ever been. So, and it's keeping me young. Glad to be here and looking forward to the presentation.
Glad you're here, Tim. Amy Messersmith, hey.
Hi, it's so nice to be with you all. I'm Amy. I'm based here in Dallas, Texas. Also, I'm the Chief People Officer for a company called Caraville Autism Health. We work on early intervention therapy for children who are on the spectrum, and with the goal of helping them be prepared for a very successful elementary career. So it's very rewarding work. I'm currently serving on a couple of advisory boards, and continue to find myself in situations where I am redesigning the tech stack every time I go somewhere. And so I stay perpetually curious about what's new and coming and on the horizon, since it really is evolving so quickly. So glad to be here, glad to learn.
Glad you're here, Amy.
Thank you.
Carolyn, hey.
Hey, how are you? How is everyone here? I'm Carolyn Schneider, coming to you from the Music City of Nashville, Tennessee, and glad to be here as well. I am recently retired, or I'm dipping my toe in the water of retirement, I would say, stepping back from a multi-billion-dollar healthcare firm that I helped take public, and looking at I've got a couple of advisory roles that I'm looking at. I've got some consulting gigs, some things that are just coming at me left and right. And I kept telling myself that, I need to slow down, and I need to not say yes every time somebody comes to me, because I'm like, yes, I want to hear more about it. But then it's like, oh, then they've got you. I mean, that's how they get you. So I'm actually learning how to say no. But I'm having a great time, and I'm enjoying a beautiful spring in Nashville. So thank you, and thank you for having me. And I'll tell you in advance, I probably have to jump off early. I've got somebody coming to meet me for something else, so I apologize.
No problem. And Carolyn, I hear that Jeff Wall is asking you to be on his advisory board, right?
Yes. And also this book.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The book. I'm kind of excited about that. That's kind of fun. So yeah, he's putting a book together and has asked for me to contribute to the book too. So I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be. Cool. Fanny, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Fanny Shoemaker out of Dallas, Texas. I have over 30 years in human resources, specifically in the total rewards and HR operations space. Almost 15 years in M&A, have a pretty broad industry experience, retail, manufacturing, CPG. I am currently consulting for a PE company on a carve out that they have just purchased, and I'm doing a complete build out for them, setting up their benefits, compensation, HRIS, payroll, shared services, the whole stack. So pretty exciting work.
Welcome. Glad you're here, Fanny.
Thank you.
Deanna, good to see your face.
Good to be back. Deanna Farmer. I'm in Oklahoma City and spent a number of decades in oil and gas across finance, IT, HR, pretty much anything that supported the actual operations and commercial activities. And in the past 5 years, have been doing leadership development, consulting, coaching, working with organizations across a number of different industries, public, private, and nonprofit, to develop strategy, organizational culture, and leadership strength. And most recently, doing some fractional COO work in some logistics industry. So, and I'm excited to be here.
Glad you're here. Harry, welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm Harry White. I am a AI consultant here at ADP. I help companies look at their future of work and work through governance for AI and their strategies. Happy to be here.
Glad you're here, Harry. And Lisa, hi.
Hey, how are you? Lisa Solentrop. I'm Manhattan, Kansas area. I've got over 10 years of experience in HR, manufacturing, food processing, supply chain, and I'm currently caught up in the Dick's Foot Locker layoff. So I'm looking for my next opportunity.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until Lisa and I were talking that Dick's bought Foot Locker. Wow, because Foot Locker's global. And so Dick's wanted a global footprint. Cool. Okay, so did I miss anyone? Glad you're all here. I know some of you guys joined a little late, but I wanted to just say again, I'm really excited to have Gino here. He has founded a couple companies and exited those companies. He's going to talk about his company currently, Classet, and I'm excited about that. We've already got him in front of a couple of people, and they're talking about using his technology to in their recruiting and talent acquisition process. So I'm excited about the startup. They are looking for advisory board members. Megan, you wanna just throw up the slides real quick? Marilyn is not here today. She's in Montreal. So I think you guys remember Galvaco. She is now the co-founder of Galvaco, and so you guys, it can turn into that, right? I mean, what we're trying to do is, and you can go to the next slide, Megan. I'm going to talk a little bit about why Marilyn and I do this. For you guys, for possible board advisors, I think I'm going to have to take kind of a poll of who's gotten on a advisory board from this group, but I think there's a lot of people that now are on advisory boards. If you guys remember Anna, she's now on the board of advisory board of Galvaco. So it's an opportunity for all you guys to see new tech, but also to be considered for an advisory board position. And for founders, they love this because they get in front of you. And all you guys are amazing. So that's why Marilyn and I do this every month. And as we were talking earlier this week, we've got the whole year planned out. We could do another whole year. So count on seeing one of these every single month. And then Megan, go to the next slide. Is there something else that I need to talk? Oh, this is I think Marilyn calls it our vanity slide. These are all the startups that we've gotten in front of you guys. And so we're really proud of being able to bring this kind of startup and see kind of the newest and next AI technology. And then is there anything else,
There we go.
Megan?
That's it. This is
Yeah.
it.
And all of the startups that we're bringing to you guys, they're either looking for a first-time advisory board, they're replacing or refreshing advisory board members, or they're just advisory board curious and they want to see kind of what kind of talent they could get on their advisory board. So it's great for you guys, it's great for the founders, and we love doing it. Based on some feedback that we got, oh, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, if you guys would let Gino kind of do his presentation and then hold your questions and raise your hand after he's finished. That way he can get done with the presentation because we were finding ourselves not letting the founders finish their presentation because everybody had questions. So Gino, I'm going to turn it over to you. It's all yours until we break for questions. Okay?
Awesome. Perfect. Well, let me share some slides here. Can I get a quick thumbs up if you guys are able to see my screen okay? Awesome. Great. Well, I'm super excited to be here. My name's Gino. I'm one of the co-founders of Classet. When Cindy had reached out about presenting to this group, it was a very easy yes, please for us. We spent a lot of our time talking with HR and TA leaders about where high volume hiring is breaking today, where the puck is heading, and how we can help enable teams to escape the very admin heavy burden that's associated with trying to hire in high volume in today's environment. So I'm very appreciative that you all joined the call. It's always great for us to get perspective from seasoned HR executives like yourselves.
And hey, Gino, by the way, I forgot to mention, you guys will all get a copy of his slides. You'll get the recording and you'll get the feedback form link. So just want to make sure everybody knows that in the follow-up email. Go ahead.
Cool, sweet. Yeah, I just want to start with a little bit of a background on us and what I was hoping to cover on today's call. So Nick, my co-founders, Nick Cooper and myself, we've spent pretty much our entire career in building technology to help companies improve the way that they hire their frontline and high volume workforce, especially roles where speed to contact with candidates and a great customer and candidate experience is really important. Our first startup was called Blue Crew, which was an on-demand staffing platform for hourly work. So you could think of it like an Uber for staffing, where we had employers that would post jobs on our platform and workers that would pick up shifts on our app, and then we handled everything in between, from finding the workers to payrolling and onboarding. We built that for about 5 or 6 years, ended up scaling it to over 1 million workers throughout the US, and placed folks in all different sorts of roles, from logistics, distribution, event staffing, retail, and some healthcare as well. So we really got to see a very full picture of how different types of organizations got to hire. We ultimately sold it to EmployBridge, which is one of the larger light industrial staffing firms in the US, and it powers a lot of their hiring technology today. One of the things that stuck with us as we were building out Blue Crew was that while we were able to automate a lot of the pieces of the hiring funnel for high volume hiring, like distributing jobs to job boards, sourcing candidates, scheduling, onboarding, payrolling, all that fun stuff, we were never able to scale the actual recruiting part of having a conversation with a candidate. And that's because there is a lot of value in talking to candidates. You can learn a lot more in a 5-minute phone call with someone than you would from looking at their resume, especially today when you might have resumes that are sparsely populated, outdated, and more often than not today, potentially AI generated. These conversations with candidates can be very valuable. And what we saw at Blue Crew was that it was very difficult to scale our hiring processes without running into that bottleneck of just needing to dedicate more human recruiter bandwidth at that top of the funnel. So we launched Classet in 2022 to help solve that problem specifically. We're a venture-backed team of 8 and super passionate about driving better recruiting efficiency, but also providing a really good candidate experience, because if you don't have a good candidate experience, a lot of things just end up coming out in the wash anyways. So for today on the call, I was hoping to cover a little bit more about just the problem that we're solving, how we solve it, and I've got a little demo clip that I wanted to share of what an AI phone interview on our platform sounds like, talk through our traction customers, and then potential opportunities for how we may work together, whether it's through joining our advisory board or looking for opportunities to pilot Classet within your organization. Cool. So let's start with the problem and the state of the state in the hiring market as we see it. I enjoy starting off things with a fun stat. This one here, it comes from Greenhouse, and since 2022, the average job is receiving 3x more applications than it used to. So on the surface, that might sound like a good thing. Hey, I'm posting a job, I'm getting a lot of applicants, my roles are getting filled. But what it actually does is create a bit of an avalanche for your recruiting team to deal with processing all of those applications. So we see more and more often that recruiters are having to spend more time at the early stages of the hiring funnel, dealing with resume reviews, playing phone tag with candidates, doing phone screens, which is really eating away at time for them to focus on some of the higher value downstream activities like closing candidates, building a relationship with them and the hiring manager, and talking about the culture and getting excitement built with the candidate. Another impact that this has had is that the application funnel is increasingly filled with noise. So I don't think it's a coincidence that, this trend started happening in 2022 and ChatGPT was released in 2022. The reality is that candidates are now using AI to help generate resumes, cover letters, to even apply to jobs for them. And the result is that your recruiting team is having to deal with more noise in the process of finding a good candidate and spending more time trying to filter out and find out who's, interested, engaged, and even going to respond to you. These things add to another problem, which is, you have really good candidates in your funnel, but if you don't get to them quickly because you're spending a lot of time just trying to manage the increase in applications, it's very common for really good candidates to ghost or find an acceptance offer elsewhere. Speed really is the name of the game today. So if you're taking, weeks or days to weeks to get back to candidates, it's likely that they might have accepted a job elsewhere. And it's a really tough combination for HR manager and HR teams to deal with, right? You're having to dedicate more time to make a hire. You're seeing lower yield from your job board or marketing spend, and you're missing out on good candidates in the process. One other quick problem that I wanted to highlight as well too is that there's often a fundamental mismatch between when candidates are most interested in looking for a job and most engaged, and when your recruiting teams are set up to process those applications. From data on our platform, we see that over 60% of folks are applying outside of business hours or on the weekends, while not every recruiting team is set up to handle that. And a lot of folks aren't sitting around camped on their email, especially in the high volume hiring space. You get a lot more bang for your buck with reaching out over SMS or doing phone calls with candidates as well too. And the reality is that speed to hire is no longer like a nice to have in your hiring process. It's actually becoming one of the bigger predictors of whether or not you're going to make a hire. So we see on our platform that customers that are contacting candidates within 48 hours see a 36% increase in actually being able to make a hire. Cool. So reflecting on our journey at Blue Crew, the state of the state in the hiring process, and just how good a lot of the AI kind of power technologies are becoming out there, we asked ourselves this question of, what if we could meet candidates the instant that they raise their hand and the instant that they're most engaged in the hiring process, which is right after they apply. So a candidate being able to apply at 9 p.m. on a Friday, getting engaged within minutes, having a phone call with someone from your team or having a phone call with our AI interviewer, and being able to sell the candidate on the position before any other company is able to get to them and capture any relevant skills that are helpful to understand if one, this is a good fit for them, and two, if this is a good fit for you. So this was really what we built Classet to help solve. And I want to talk a little bit about our product. Cool. So Classet is a recruiting co-pilot. You can think of it like a AI powered teammate that sits at the top of your funnel and really lives kind of where your applications come through. So I'll talk through a little bit about how this flow works. But the second a candidate applies, whether it's through your job boards, your career site, or referrals, our product listens into that. It'll immediately reach out to candidates and engage with them through text and email, asking the candidate, hey, Cindy, thank you so much for applying. Do you have any questions about the role, and are you free for a quick 5-minute phone conversation with our AI assistant? A couple of pieces of that. So it's structured as a drip campaign. So not every candidate responds to the first email or text message, so it'll automatically follow up. And two, it's also built to be very conversational as well. So it's extremely common for candidates to have questions about jobs as they're applying, and we built it in a way so that it can answer any questions about the job before moving forward with a phone interview. The goal of that initial engagement is to push folks towards an AI phone interview. And this is available 24/7. It's highly customizable to really capture exactly what you do currently in a potential phone screen today. And the end result is after that call, we'll package up all the information we've learned on the candidate. We'll provide your recruiting team with a summary. If we learn things about their resume that wasn't previously populated, we'll update it, and we'll push it all back to whatever system of record you use. So typically that looks like an applicant tracking system or wherever you're processing and reviewing applications. I did want to just play a quick clip of what this interview sounds like. If I could just get a quick thumbs up that you guys are able to hear the audio, that'd be great. But here's a quick.
Hi there, is this Alexander?
Yes.
Great. This is Joy from Mastech, calling about the installer position you applied for. Is this a good time to chat for about 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. I'm an AI-based recruiting assistant here to help speed up the hiring process. I know talking to an AI recruiter might be new for you. My goal is just to get a sense of your background and then get you in front of the hiring manager as soon as possible. We record these calls to create a great summary for them, so treat this like a real interview, okay? Sound good?
Sounds great.
Perfect. The installer position at Mastech in Ashland, Virginia offers an hourly pay rate of $20. It's a hands-on role in a growing field. Mastech is big on building infrastructure for modern communication and even owns the soccer team Inter Miami, showing its scale and impact. You'll gain valuable technical skills, work on real-world projects, and be part of a team focused on safety, quality, and career growth. Do you have any specific questions about the role?
Can you tell me what kind of work environment should I expect?
You can expect a hands-on, team-based work environment in construction and technical settings. You'll be working on site regularly using tools. It's a great opportunity to develop your skills and advance into higher-level roles. Does that sound like something you'd enjoy?
Most definitely.
Great to hear. Let's make sure you meet the basic requirements for the role.
Cool. So I'll stop it right there, and it's very easy for us to provide recordings to folks or even test interviews if it's something they're interested in trying. But a couple of things that I like to call out about this phone interview process. The first is that we are very transparent upfront about it being AI driven. So even at the beginning of the message, it's mentioning, hey, I'm an AI driven recruiting assistant. And even in the text messages and emails we send out to candidates, we really want to be as transparent as possible about, hey, this is a new paradigm shift. You're talking to an AI recruiter, but our goal is to help you move forward in the hiring process as quickly as possible and get you in front of the right people while you're most active. The second component is that we've built it to also be very conversational. As I mentioned, it's really common for candidates, because they're applying to 20, 30 jobs a week or sometimes even more, to have questions that they want to answer about a job before understanding if they want to move forward or if they're a good fit for it. So we've built it in a way that you can upload your own FAQs, knowledge base, the job description, and it can answer any of those questions that a candidate has while still steering the conversation towards trying to accomplish what you're looking to get out of the call and what information you're looking to learn about the candidate. Cool. The most common question we get after I show this slide, so I figured I'd put this in there, is, do candidates actually like this? Are candidates actually willing to speak to AI? And this was honestly one of the things that, as we were having spent so much time in the frontline hiring space, we're most curious to learn and understand as we built this product. And we've been really excited by what we've seen so far. As I mentioned, we're very upfront about it being an AI-driven process, and we give candidates the opportunity to opt out of AI at any point in time. So if they say, hey, this isn't for me, I'd like to talk to a human, that's totally fine. We see the opt-out rates on our platform at sub 1.5%. So while that's not nothing, if you've got hundreds of thousands of candidates that you're getting each year, it is not like we're introducing some fork in the road where half your candidates are going through AI and half of them aren't. And we do see really high satisfaction scores as well too. The main thing that we're offering candidates is the ability to learn about your brand when they're most interested and when it's most convenient to them. And as I talked about earlier, a lot of candidates are doing this on the weekends and outside of business hours. So I really like this quote from Raymond at Sears, or who's hired at Sears, just being impressed with being able to hear from a company right away. And it helps the brand stand out, and they're able to learn a lot more about the job than they would be if they had to wait 3 to 4 days to try to schedule something. Cool. So I want to talk a little bit about our traction as well. We've been really excited about the traction we've seen and some early signals of product market fit. Our ideal customers are companies that receive a large volume of inbound applications, whether that's from job boards or your careers page or referrals or whatever avenue that might be. As you can see from the logos down here, we tend to work really well for companies that have a large frontline workforce. So we work with companies like Sears and Ace Hardware to help them with more of their kind of field level roles. Although we do have a fair amount of customers that use us for entry level roles that receive a lot of applications as well too. One stat that we also like to look at too, in addition to this first one of just how many interviews we're completing, is how much time we're actually able to save the recruiting team. And I think this quote from Kenneth at Symphonic in the top right is a good example of that. He posted a job, I think it was on LinkedIn, for an entry-level data analyst at like 5 o'clock on a Friday. And within 24 hours, he had 350 applications to go through. So this is becoming a little bit more of the norm, especially on platforms like Indeed or LinkedIn, where you can apply very quickly with robots. But our team was able to save his team a lot of time by conducting all the phone screens over the weekend so that their team were able to log in on Monday and start actioning candidates that were qualified, interested, and wanting to move forward. Awesome. So given there are a lot of different screening tools out there, I did just want to hit on a little bit of what makes us different. We've got over a decade of building products specifically for the frontline high volume workforce, and this is driven a lot of the product decisions that we've made and why we've made it. And a key piece of that is, we are phone first, and it is very conversational. So it's not a chatbot or a video where you're asking candidates to like sit down, go on their computer, download an app, and record themselves and do a one-way conversation. We want to meet candidates where they are, when they are, whether that's on a break between jobs or after hours, potentially when your recruiting team's not around. So a lot of our product has been built around that emphasis of building a good candidate experience and meeting them where they are. Secondly, we also know from experience that every hiring process is slightly different and every screening call is slightly different. So we've built our product in a way that's super customizable down to the exact word that you want your phone interview agent to say on a call, because we do know that every interview needs to be different. And we also want to make sure and the way that we've built our product is highly consistent as well too, so that your brand, your voice, the questions, everything is being asked consistently the same way each time. Your agent isn't going to get back from lunch and be more angry or a different tone or ask different questions or cut people off. So I think another value that you get from a product like this is the ability to have the same consistent brand experience for your candidates every single time. And lastly, we also understand that this is a bit of a paradigm shift for folks. Sometimes, introducing AI to any part of your process internally is a bit of a leap, just because it is a paradigm shift when you're interacting with candidates with AI. So we've built our product to be super flexible in how you can deploy it. Typically, we end up integrating into our customers' ATS with a simple plugin that we have, but there's also a lot of ways that you can try out our product to get a sense of candidate and your team's appetite without even needing to go through the throes of getting IT involved or anything like that. So we built it in a way to be very kind of fast and flexible as well too. Sweet. So I know I talked about our product a bit, our team, some of the traction that we're seeing as well. If any of this is interesting to you all, I think there's probably two lenses to kind of look at next steps for where we could take a conversation from here. The first is on the advisory board. So while we've seen a lot of really great traction so far, and we're really excited about our product, we have found that warm introductions and warm conversations within networks or networks of networks is a great way for us to continue to grow and get feedback. So we're looking for experienced operators in the HR space with a good passion for technology and more of a focus on the kind of high volume frontline hiring, and also just passionate about candidate experience and where technology is headed to help improve the candidate experience. And then the second option is, the second lens is if you feel like this could be of interest of your team or folks within your immediate network. It's really easy for us to spin up a quick test interview for you to share with folks. We love getting feedback. So it literally takes us 30 seconds to spin up a test interview if you or anyone on your team might be interested in trying this out and seeing if it could fit within your organization. So it's also very easy for us to set up, the kind of crawl, walk, run approach with pilots as well too. So if there's any interest in either of these categories, I've got I think Cindy, you mentioned you were going to provide my email as well too, but I've got my email listed here and our website on the left, and then a QR code for my LinkedIn if anyone feels like whipping out their phone and taking a picture. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone joining the call. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Matthias, I don't mean to call you out, but I think I had mentioned this technology to you, and you said, well, isn't this a lot like ACNet? Because we had brought ACNet. So, Gino, ACNet is similar, but it's for more white collar technology kind of job openings versus the front line. And so why have you guys gone into this front line, more blue collar hiring space versus the other? And I don't know, Matthias, if you have another question to add to that.
I want to add to this a little bit and to make a distinction. So Cindy, ACNet also is very much a video-driven platform. They want to see a candidate. They want to interact with candidates. So yes, there are some similarities. But what Classet is doing is they they don't force an employee to go in front of the computer, in front of the camera. That makes it a little bit easier depending on what type of frontline jobs you have. Like in my own space right now, is I think Classet is more relatable to the people that I hire versus, IT engineers, if you will, which ACNET is a little bit more geared toward. But yes, that's a very, very good call, Cindy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matthias.
I was just going to add real quick. So we, and there's totally a use case for valuable video interview as part of the process. We actually at Blue Crew experimented with VidCruiter, which is a video, like one-way video recording interviewing tool. And we did see a pretty large drop off from the types of workers that we were trying to hire in completion rate and conversion. So I'd mentioned at the beginning, like, tools are great and making your recruiting team is more efficient, but if you're sacrificing your candidate experience and how your candidates want to interact with your hiring process, a lot of it ends up coming out in the wash. So we've built it specifically for folks that are focused, and candidly, people have talked on the phone to robots or AI or phone trees for 20 years. So it's not that different of a paradigm shift for them. And we want to just really be focusing on meeting them where they're at versus having them, a lot of folks don't have computers, so their phone is their primary mode of interacting with the web and the internet and folks, and we wanted to meet them where they were at.
So Gino, Carolyn's got a question.
Cool.
You're on mute.
I know, I was trying to hurry up and get off. So, yeah, the question I have, Gino, is I'm thinking about this in terms of sort of the healthcare space. And because nurses work all kinds of different shifts, and, obviously they would be applying at different times of day. So I like sort of that value there. One of the questions I have from a recruiting perspective is, once that goes through, and let's just say it flows through and interviews all of these candidates, does it rank them in terms of best fit for the job?
Great question. So the way our product works, you could think of it maybe a little bit more akin to filtering than specific ranking. So you have the ability in our product to add qualifying questions for the candidate, like, do you have such and such, RN certificate? Are you able to work, weekends? Or do these shifts work for you? Things that are like very binary, basic criteria that may disqualify them from the role. And if they don't answer those correctly, we'll kind of bucket them separately as the outcome. We're very, very cautious around not asserting any subjective ranking or scoring to candidates. We ultimately want that decision to live with the recruiter. And I think that's where you wade into a little bit different of muddy waters around just AI bias. So you think of it more as a filtering and a bucketing versus, hey, we're going to tell you candidate A is better than candidate B because they said they answered this one question differently.
Okay. Thank you.
So Amy Messersmith, she's the next one that raised her hand.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Gino, thank you so much. This is such a needed tool for those of us that are in frontline, high volume hiring, where they do a lot of shift work. And you're exactly right. They engage with us at 2 a.m. or at 10 p.m. when I am tucked snugly in my bed and not wanting to do this work. So there's a huge need for this. I really appreciate it. We have been engaging with an organization called Fountain. I see some things about you all that are unique to you, but the AI interview piece, I think, is you guys are absolutely skating where the puck is going to keep going, and I think that's fantastic. So I love it because, candidly, there are not as many options available to organizations like mine in this high volume hourly space as is needed. And so I really commend and appreciate that you guys have focused in this area, because it is such a hard space to compete for talent in. And I would love to learn more about, how to engage with you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and we integrate with Fountain. They have available APIs, so it's really a light lift for us to get done. But the way that interaction typically works is, think of us as kind of listening into your applicant traffic that hits Fountain, and then we'll engage them through our product. And then as soon as an outcome is established from that outreach, we'll update them within Fountain and give you a link to their recording, their profile, any information that would be helpful for you to see.
Cool. Thank you.
we don't want to do is create like, a bunch of different tools that recruiting teams have to use to leverage something like this. So we do place a lot of emphasis on being able to kind of live and breathe where recruiting teams are living and breathing. So we offer a fair amount of integrations out of the box.
Thank you.
So Tim, were you next or Fanny? I can't remember.
It doesn't matter. Tim can go.
Tim?
Well, sure. I'm just going to piggyback off of Carolyn's question. I'm curious about the day in the life, so to speak, with the agent. So the agent interviews 100 people over the weekend, and I'm the recruiter, and I come in, and what does that look like? What am I going to see? How's that going to help me sort through those 300 plus interview or applications that came in, so I can start to make some decisions on how to move forward? Can you help me with that a little bit?
Absolutely. So maybe let's start from a little bit further back in the funnel. You get 100 applications over the weekend. Typically around 30% of those, so call it 30, aren't going to be responsive to either a human or AI reaching out to them. So that's time saved already that your recruiting team is not having to reach out and validate. Of the 60 remaining, we typically see like interview completion rates, let's call it 45 of those will complete the interview. If you have those sort of qualifying questions, depending on kind of the strictness of your role, there might be, half of that group that gets disqualified from that. So maybe you're looking at going from 100 down to 20. And then a piece of what we provide you and which customers also heavily customize is what sort of output summary they're looking for from the call. So think about it like having your own recruiter that you can say, from this call, I'm looking to learn this, and this about the candidate. So you can really quickly decide if you want to move forward with them or not. Versus, we don't see recruiters going in and listening to every single call. They'll rely on that summary that they get and any information they're looking to learn summarized from the call before diving into specific pieces of the actual recording. So what it typically looks like is you maybe take that 20 of the people that were past the qualifying section of the interview, and then maybe 5 you'll actually listen to the interview if you want to pick up on specific pieces, and the rest you'll rely on just the summary that you get from the call.
Thank you.
Fanny, you're next.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. So, Gino, I have been in industries very heavily blue collar, large Spanish speaking population. So what functionality do you have in that space?
Yeah, it's as simple as clicking a button if you want to allow candidates to conduct an interview in a different language. The transcripts themselves, the summary themselves will be written back to your system in English. The recording will be in Spanish, and you can have a fully multilingual experience for candidates. There's like 50 or 60 different languages and accents that we offer as well too, depending on the type of roles. We do some work in Canada where they require interviews to be done in French. We've done some some fun accents, some Yorkshire accents in England.
Excellent. No, I think that would be really, really useful.
Harry, you're next.
Hello. My question is more so, with all of the qualified candidates. So you've got people that have gone through the interview, they've done it. Hey, they're a great fit, but we've already hired somebody. Does this allow you to store people that have already done their interview that would be successful, so people can call on them again? So think about cyclical or seasonal work, right? Like, hey, it's the summertime again. They interviewed last year. We just pull that up and just give them a call, right? Is there a functionality for that? So you don't have to always do that for like an evergreen?
That setup would depend a little bit on whether or not we're integrated into your ATS and how you action candidates after a role closes. Our role typically ends after we've interviewed the candidate and established an outcome with them. Some customers will use, if they successfully pass the interview, they'll schedule them for an interview. It's pretty common for folks also to introduce call it like a future leads category or bucket inside of their ATS, Harry, so that if candidates have already completed the interview, they can move them there and then re-engage them down the road if the role opens back up.
Did that answer your question?
That did, yes.
That was a good question. There's a couple of questions in chat. Cost, time to value, flexibility. Gino, can you touch on those?
Yeah, I don't have chat pulled up. Let me see what the question is. Okay. Integration with HRIS system as well as overall cost. So we typically integrate directly to applicant tracking systems, not necessarily HRIS. I know some tools kind of have both, so it's a little bit question dependent. I can include just the list of our integrations that we support out of the box. As a follow-up, the cost is usage-based and it's tied to your expected number of interviews that you're going to be conducting through our platform. And we only charge for completed interviews. So once a candidate completely goes through that interview process, that's what triggers a charge, and it's all kind of usage and volume based there. The time to value depends a little bit on the type of applicant tracking system you're using, but most ATSs, if that's the route you want to go with, we could stand them up within 4 weeks to a month, which is pretty minimal work on our customers' end. And time to value will vary depending on like how quickly you scale our product. But we also have folks that can use our own product to get up and running within a week and can see time to value, or they can see value very, very quickly too. So I know I had that slide about just how fast and flexible it is to deploy. It's sort of easier for us to dive into your hiring process and understand what it looks like, and then provide you with like a, hey, this is the best way to use our product to get to time to value quickest.
Gino, I think Rick Beyer had a question or a comment. Yeah, he's got a couple.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess my first question was, what is behind the name? What's the story behind the name of Classet?
Cool. Yeah, so when we first started Classet, I mentioned originally that we spent, Blue Crew, a lot of that story was related to blue collar work, skilled trades. So we've got like a pretty deep passion for that and getting more people into these type of careers. It's especially becoming now like pressing because, as AI takes more and more white collar jobs away, I think there's going to be an even larger need for skilled labor. So we're really passionate about that space. One of the initial versions of our product were helping guide candidates in the hiring process to learn more about what it's like to work in the trades and providing them with like mini classes to understand what it would be like to work in the trades through like TikTok videos and things like that. So the name Classet comes from the combination of the word class and asset.
Thank you. I guess my other question is, what are your potential clients saying about your product? What do they like? And perhaps what do they like less well?
What they like is the amount of time that we save their recruiting teams, the feedback that they get from candidates that are going through the process. And they also like how customizable it is in terms of being able to really set up an interview that replicates exactly what you want to learn on a call. What I would say maybe is like a slight double-edged sword to that last point that could be a friction point at times is because there is a lot of customization, we tend to get it takes a little bit of iteration to really like nail down exactly what you want in your interview and getting that in a very consistent place. So it is a little bit of a collaborative process, but I would say that's probably maybe the biggest friction point is just, this is a bit of a paradigm shift for folks. So just getting comfortable and iterating on the right voice, the right questions, the right setup, how we want to action things inside of your ATS. It's a handful of decisions you need to make to get started. And there's a lot of customization. So I think that would probably be like the biggest like friction point that would get called out.
Thank you.
Hey, Gino, I keep thinking that you might want to share the call that I was on when I had somebody reach out to me and wanted to know if I knew of any recruiters that they could hire. And I said, no, but I just saw this new startup that I think is pretty cool. You want to look at it? And so you want to just share with him. I know it's a smaller company, but it was clear to me through that process that I kind of went through with you early on that you're flexible and that it's easy to set up. I don't know if just going through an example might reiterate that.
Yeah. Okay. I know the example. One of our newer customers The piece of feedback that they gave was, they're really excited to try this out. They really would rather do like a crawl, walk, run approach where rather than having this immediately integrate into their applicant tracking system and process applications, they'd rather test it for a few applications and send them an interview link directly and choose who they want to send the interviews to. And our platform completely supports that. So whether it's us automatically actioning candidates and reaching out to them, or you choosing who you want to send the interview to, we've set our platform up in a way that really allows folks to have a bit more flexibility with how they try out our product before kind of crawl, walk, running into it. So yeah, that was a fun example. But we're up and running with them, and it's been great.
Yeah, and the other point I think that I took away from that experience with walking with you through with them was the fact that they had looked at other AI tools actually in Kansas City, Rick, and they weren't flexible, and so they really liked the idea of the flexibility, and then it was like a matter of days. I know they were a small company, but it was a matter of days that they got right.
Yep. Yeah. We can get folks set up in a very quick amount of time. But yeah, it depends on their hiring process. But it's always great to see folks that are willing to try it out in whatever way works for them, and we can help get them started really quickly.
So, guys, we've got about 5 more minutes. Anybody else have any other questions for Gino?
Oh, just one quick one, and I apologize if you've already mentioned this. Is the best way to reach out to you via your LinkedIn profile, or I know you have an email as well, but I didn't know how inundated you get with your email.
You can reach out to me over email. I can also shoot you a LinkedIn connection too. But yeah, email is fine.
And just to repeat what I said earlier, because Fanny, I don't think you were on, I will be sending out to all of you guys a follow-up email that has the recording. If you want to go back and listen to it, it'll have his slides, and then I'll CC him on his email so that you can easily reach out to him from that. And then Megan keeps flashing up the link for feedback. And if Marilyn was here, she'd say how great Rick Beyer is because he always he always gives feedback. But we really, really, really would love your feedback as well. And the follow-up email will have the link to the feedback as well. So you should get that. He's already sent me his slides. As soon as I get the recording from Zoom, I'll shoot that out to everybody, and you'll be able to reach out to Gino and get to know him better, ask questions, whatever.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to, again, it's really easy for us to spin up like a test interview link for one of your roles or a role that you'd be interested in trying it out for. So always happy to set one of those up. I mean, worst case, it might be fun for you to just mess around with Joy and talk on an interview call with someone. So always happy to do that too.
Okay, you guys, if there's no more questions, you get 5 minutes more, 5 minutes back in your day.
I did have one other question, Cindy.
Okay.
I know it. I saw the slide where you guys had a little over 200 customers so far. Where do you see the growth area for you guys? Like, hey, this is really working for companies this size. Like, is there a particular size, or is it truly just, hey, if you got high volume, works for everybody?
Yeah. What we've found is that it's not the best fit for folks that don't have consistent hiring needs. It certainly will provide value in spurts when you do need to hire, but we tend to focus our go-to-market motion more on mid-size companies that have a recruiting team established. They may or may not have an ATS, but are probably in the realm of needing one based on how many applications they get. Can also tell you that we're probably like not the best fit for organizations that do most of their hiring through, call it like headhunting, where they're kind of like going and reaching out to like passive candidates as their primary motion for hiring. Other than that, any companies that are seeing over like 1,000 applications per month, more of a focus on the frontline type roles and have some, recruiting process or recruiting team presence stood up is typically a good fit.
Cindy, I have a quick question as well, if we have time.
Sure.
Just curious about, with that integration to the applicant tracking system and all that, is there a monitoring or auditing system kind of set in place so we can verify that they're going, applicants or once these interviews are conducted are going into the correct buckets or, because sometimes we have people who kind of there are pros and cons, in doing those interviews. So how do we kind of make sure that the right people are hitting the right buckets?
Yeah, we provide a lot of reporting out of the box in terms of what your like funnel conversion is, where candidates are ending up. You choose within our platform where you want candidates to be mapped into the different buckets in your applicant tracking system, so you have complete control over that. It's not directly related to your conversation, but you had mentioned the monitoring piece of things, and I think it's important to highlight that on the AI bias side, we actually have a third-party monitor and auditor in place to just check for quality on the calls and make sure that we're not introducing any AI bias on those calls. So we've got a handful of different things in place as it relates to like monitoring and making sure that the systems are talking together correctly and that the agent on the call is has the right guardrails in place and is not introducing any disparate impact or counterfactual type things.
Okay, thank you.
How are you integrating with companies that are using Indeed and ZipRecruiter and other mainline recruiting products?
So a little bit of it depends on if they're using an applicant tracking system. So if they are using one and funneling candidates from Indeed into those, will interact with candidates once they hit the applicant tracking system. We also have, I'd mentioned just like a lot of different ways you can launch our product. We also have our own sort of mini light ATS where we'll see customers try it out, where they can actually syndicate jobs directly to Indeed and ZipRecruiter from our product. So that's another way that we'll see folks connect directly from Indeed and ZipRecruiter to our product. And then there's a handful that also will use our like interview links that they can add to their Indeed jobs or send through messages on Indeed as well too.
Thank you.
Gino, how do you handle privacy and confidentiality with the data? Do you have like SOC 2 compliance or anything like that?
Yep. So we're SOC 2 Type 2 compliant.
Okay.
So we finished our observation period in, I think it was like November of last year. And we've got a whole trust center on our site set up for all the information related to that too.
Great, thank you.
Okay, you guys, we're about at time. Gino, thanks so much. It was a great presentation, and thanks everybody for your participation. Look for the email and reach out to Gino because his email will be CC'd on the email so you can do it easily. Okay? Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Well, it was great to
Thank
meet you all.
Bye.
Thank you.